All right, so we'll call the meeting to order. The Monday, December 21st meeting of the St. Joseph County Public Library. And we're meeting today via Zoom. And I changed the order today in a different order altogether, not alphabetical one way or the other, because after all, it is my last meeting and we need to mix it up a little bit more. And Michelle hasn't ever started. So Michelle, I'll let you start. Just indicate if you're present and that you received the packet and were able to open it. So Michelle just got off.
Just chatted that she's lost her sound. So I think she went out and is trying to get back.
All right, we'll do that. All right, so Terry is not here either. Augie?
Here, and I got the packet.
Okay, Marvin?
Here, I have the packet.
Great. Ann?
I'm here and I've got the packet.
Christine?
Here and I have the packet.
And I'm here and I received and was able to open the packet. And so we'll just hold off on Michelle and well, Michelle is here, so we'll count her present and we know she's going to come back on. So the first thing let's go ahead and do is, so there is a quorum present. So I'll declare that for purposes of our minutes. And then each of you received in the board packet our board minutes of the November 23rd meeting. And hopefully you've had a chance to review those. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
That motion made and seconded. Are there any comments, additions, or changes? If not, let's go ahead and I see Michelle. I haven't seen her come on yet, and Terry's not on. So Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The minutes are approved. The next order is our director's report. You've all received director's report. And I know that Ann wants to basically sort of pass over most of the things in the report, but I did ask her to just talk to us about one thing with respect to the vaccine and how that might become available to some of our staff members, if not all of those, or some of the things that are kind of going on that. And so, Ann, do you want to, and I see Michelle is joining us and Terry is also joining us right now. So perfect timing. Welcome you two. And go ahead, Deb.
Sure. We've been kind of investigating where we might fall in the vaccine queue because we do a lot of frontline work, or a lot of our folks do a lot of frontline work. So there are a few things going on. I've responded to a survey from the federal front regarding our frontline staff and the kinds of services we provide. And they've asked for numbers of potential people to get the vaccine. So it was a fairly in-depth survey that we've responded to, again, at the federal level. The Indiana Library Federation is also lobbying on behalf of libraries to be sure that we just have some consideration. When you look at the list of how they're going to allocate vaccine, we kind of don't fit into any of those categories, and yet we're doing a lot of frontline public service. I just got the story today that one of my staff helped a person who needed papers faxed, and the faxing was a COVID positive diagnosis and all the things accompanying that. So we're doing those things. Now, we did it remote, we did it curbside, but you know, we are handling those kinds of things. And then the Community Foundation is convening a group of nonprofits in January. And we're going to talk to the health department also as well about vaccine deployment. Jenny sits on the COVID communications task force for the area, and that's giving her up-to-date information on how the vaccine is going to be deployed. So we're getting some information that way. So just to keep you in the loop. And I also really just wanted to mention the operating balances. We're coming down to the end of the year. We have a healthy balance in operating in LRF and rainy day going into the end of the year, and we've gotten our settlement already. So you're going to see that in January when we get everything balanced. You might also notice that there's a CARES Act distribution for just about $50,000, and that was a reimbursement grant, I believe, for things that we had already spent. So that's come in as well. And I'll stop there since we're using half of the alphabet this time on our agenda items. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Appearing to be no questions, is there a motion to?
I have just one question.
Marvin,
in the new bill from the Congress, if they ever pass it tonight,
Yeah.
Is there money in there for libraries? I know there's money for schools and universities.
Not that I've seen. And there was, I don't think there was any in the first round either. We
Oh,
were
okay.
eligible for some CARES Act funding because of COVID precautions and supplies that we did, but I don't think there was any direct, there was some IMLS grant money for COVID, but that was pretty restricted, so.
I also want to tell you, I drove by the library. It is amazing.
It is something, isn't it?
I was like, what is this? Like, whoa.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah, it's got a presence.
it does. A
Yeah.
whole lot. Like, okay, that's it, Augie.
You know, Deb, if they do allow any vaccine for library personnel, I would think from the standpoint of continuity of government in our library board, we may want to include us too. So there's not we don't have a problem with our being able to meet monthly and everything. As a part of our own continuity.
I will keep that in mind.
Right.
I will tell you
You
that
can get us in too. I'd certainly take the shot, the vaccine.
there is also lobbying afoot to maintain distance meetings like this, because I think what they've found, or what governments have found over the last 9-10 months, is that this actually affords more participation in government to do it this way. And so there's going to be an effort to allow for virtual meetings. Whether it'll succeed or not, I have no idea, but it's there.
Great. All right, so then if there's no other questions regarding the director's report, I think there was a motion made and seconded. Is there, shall we go ahead and take the roll to approve the director's report? Michelle? Michelle, yes? No? That was a thumbs up I saw, Michelle?
You're muted.
I think you can't, yeah.
She's muted. Is everybody muted? I don't know.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Michelle?
there
Okay, now I'm unmuted.
All right, so you vote aye? Okay.
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Christine?
aye.
And I vote aye. The director's report's approved. Next is our library bill list for December 21st. Nancy, do you want to go through that or anything?
Unmute myself. Yes, remember to unmute myself. It pretty much, most of the claims here are routine claims. I would call your attention to the last page. About 2/3 of the way down, US Bank. Those are debt service payments on our 2018 general obligation bonds and the 2019 general obligation bonds. Those payments aren't due until January 15th. However, that they're structured so that we can take them out of this this fiscal period. Next year, we'll be adding the payment for the 2020 general obligation bond. So instead of the approximately $770,000, we'll have, over the course of the year, 1.7 million in payments for the bonds. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about any of the other checks.
Are there any questions for Nancy? If not, is there a motion to approve the accounts payable vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
A motion made and seconded. I'll call the roll. Michelle?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Michelle, I think you were off. I told people I had changed the order and would give you first. Since you haven't been first yet on this roll call, I wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to be first this month. So
On good timing, because I couldn't get my computer to work, so I I was confused. Sorry.
no problem. All right. Next is the personnel changes. Deb or Cora?
Just one thing to note, that we're moving the full-time branch assistant, Cara Polly, who's been there for a few months. We're moving her to North Liberty on a permanent basis and switching her with Michelle Arnett. Michelle has been at North Liberty. She's moving back to Center. So we're just making a swap there. There, you see a couple of resignations. Those are both for people who are moving out of district, who won't be with us anymore. And I think that's not much else to report.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding the personnel report? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Michelle,
Aye.
Terry? Terry, thumbs up.
Aye.
Augie,
aye,
Marvin,
aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The personnel changes are approved. The next order of business is report of special library board committees, and I'll simply note that there were no special library board committees meetings that were held since our last meeting, and therefore there are no reports. I'm not aware of any unfinished business from our last meetings. Is anybody else aware of any unfinished business or old business? If not, we can move into new business. And the first order of new business are change orders, and there are quite a few of them. So what I'm suggesting that we do is that we go through and listen to a report of all of these change orders, and then we'll go through and I'll make a motion to approve the whole group. So I'm not sure who's going.
We have Antonia and Glenn and Jeff are all here. I'm not sure who's doing it. Antonia raised her hand, so she's up.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll go through a brief explanation between all of the different subcontractors that we have, starting with EJ White. We had the approval of PR 18. PR 18 provided us with revisions to the second floor MEP changes for $14,351.
And MEP, I'm sorry, stands for what? MEP, Anthony is
Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing.
perfect. All right, that's fine, great. I just want to clarify. Okay, great.
I'm sorry, I get so used to my own jargon. You have to forgive me.
That's fine. Go ahead.
For golf, we've had a couple of different changes. We have one set of changes for a deduct of $707.64 and one for $7,462. There was multiple changes, primarily associated with architectural related changes for the second floor height, elevator equipment, including PR 18 and 26 for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing changes that we received on the renovation space. For Herman and Getz, we had a few change orders for $30,665. This is for the elevator and equipment room, and fixture changes for miscellaneous light fixtures throughout both the renovation and annex space. Then we also had a set of miscellaneous changes for an add of $23,767. Going back, I want to make sure that it's very clear. The deduct, the 30,000 is a deduct, is a credit, just to be very clear. For Indiana Earth, we had a few miscellaneous changes. For the first one is the PR 9 drainage at the southwest, the south driveway. We also had radiant heat, unforeseen obstructions when it comes to the foundation wall that we saw, and then also for the water tie-in as well. For both of those, we had $26,605.85, $6,032 for the water install. For Irwin Seating, there were multiple seating upgrades that resulted in a cost of $7,958. For Larson Danielson, we had the changing station for the toilet rooms and the hand wash stations that we installed for COVID-19, resulting in a $4,503.82. And for ASI renovation door schedule for a total of $5,359. For mechanical concepts, we had a few MEP changes, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing changes. We had a tire material for heat pump work for $5,854. PR26 for the first floor MEP work for $153,988. PR18 for the second floor MEP revisions for $100,969. And then we had a janitor closet upgrade for $2,428 for an overall change of $253,385. Bond, we had 3 changes. Door schedule, the painting, plastic and laminate, and finish changes for overall change of $1,756, broken down into 2 changes, one for $1,147, and then the other for $2,609. For Schindler, we had elevator and phone upgrades for the renovation space and the annex space. For the annex space, it was a total of $10,390. And for the renovation space, $5,495. For Shambaugh, we had a few miscellaneous changes. One for the janitor's closet for $300, the third floor hall for $1,500, and then additional sprinkler heads that were needed in the children's area for $600. That cost is $300 for one change and then $2,400 for the other. For structural steel services, we had 3 changes. ASI 25 for structural steel clarification, ASI 46 for the annex third floor, and then ASI 54 for gate changes for overall change of $15,608. And Zolkowski had 2 changes, one miscellaneous change, and then one for the stone sign and joining the TT panels. Those 2 costs, the first one is $17,313, and then the other is $8,190. For overall changes for December 2020 of $385,503.03.
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony. Are there any questions regarding these change orders?
Augie, you remember when you said the change orders hadn't been that high? And I said they were coming?
You're here.
It's here.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, right?
Yeah, this is a big month. And the mechanical changes for mechanical concepts and the associated ones that came from EJ White and Herman and Getz, we have been working on those for several months to get to this place. And I don't know that any of us is completely thrilled with how it came out, but we did save some money from where we started. So, and I think Bullion Andrews has worked hard on our behalf to get us to this point. So it was a lot of these changes too are library generated, not all of them certainly, but there are a number that we have done.
So,
I would say we're still also within budget, although our contingency is shrinking rapidly. So we're going to tackle that in the new year.
okay. So again, any questions or comments regarding these 20 change orders? If
I
not,
was wondering if any in total, I saw there were notes on a couple, but what's our timeline look like now? Have we continued to lose some ground, or where are we?
B&A is still telling us, and they're on the call, so they can argue if I misspeak. We're still about 35 days behind, but we're still on track for the last date that I told you, which I believe is it August, end of August?
8/18.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It really depends, I think, a lot on what happens this winter and whether we can maintain the schedule this winter. And if we have an easy winter, that's going to be a good thing for us. And then the other thing is whether we have any effects of COVID. And so far, not, but that could still come.
yeah, if you haven't driven by the site, you'll see, we've tried to button up most of the building as possible, as much as possible. That's going to be helpful for continuing construction inside. Deb alluded to the winter being light. If it is light, we can possibly get some of the masonry started, which is, a key or critical path item to get the granite set, cast stone set, and get things moving to get finishes in. But we're trying to be diligent in the use of the winter conditions. We got a couple prices on, tarping the entire building to see if that was a cheaper approach. Right now, we're just plugging openings and trying to use the final finishes for enclosure because it's a more cost-effective way to approach it.
Thank you. The winter's been very light here.
Terry's in
Oh, no.
Arizona, just so you know.
It's too bad we can't build it there and move it back.
there you go. Okay, so any other questions or comments? If not, and I'll go ahead and do all 20 of these. Is there a motion to approve the change orders from EJ White, which is a increase of $14,351. Goff's first change order has a credit or savings of $707.64. And their second change order is an increase of $7,462. Permanent Gets, we also have two change orders. One is a deduct of $30,665, and the other one adds $23,767, so $23,767. Then there's also two change orders for Indiana Earth. One is an increase of $26,605.85. The other one adds $6,032. Irwin Seating Company is an increase of $7,958. Larson Danielson is an addition of $4,503.82. Larson Daniel also has a change order, which is an increase of $5,359. Mechanical Concepts has an increase in their contract to buy $257,385. Osterbahn has a change order with an addition of $1,147 and a second change order for $2,609. Schindler also has two change orders. One pertaining to the Annex is an increase of $10,390 and also a change order with an increase for the renovation Schindler has of $5,495. Shambaugh also has two change orders. One is an increase of $300 and the second is an increase of $2,400. Structural Steel, their change order adds $15,608. And finally, Zilkowski has two change orders. One is an increase of $17,313, and the second one is an increase of $8,190. So is there a motion to approve all 20 of those change orders?
So
So
move.
moved.
So move.
So we have lots of motions and a second. I assume everybody seconds as well.
I'll second.
So motion made and second. Are there any additional questions or comments? And if not, I'll call the roll. Michelle,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Okay. Christine,
Aye.
and I vote aye. All 20 change orders are approved. Next, we have a approval of a advertisement and release of specifications for the main library furnishing bid package. So this is a notice to bidders that we're approving. And the notice to bid or the invitation to bid is in our packet under tab 9B. And I don't know, Deb or Sally, I think Sally Engelmeyer's here, or.
Yeah, I'll kick it off and then I'll turn it over to Sally and Reagan. We're very happy to have gotten to the point where we're ready to release the furnishings and shelving packages out for bid. Sarah and Trish and I have been working with Sally Engelmeyer and Reagan Miller at Arcos for, it seems like forever, you guys. Yeah, but it's been months to get it to this point. And so what you really need to approve tonight is the invitation to bidders, but what we asked Sally and Reagan to do was to walk you through some of what's in the package, because you really haven't seen anything in terms of colors or finishes or furnishings for the annex. And I'm not quite sure how much detail they're going into, but it's a big meeting, you guys. So I'm going to turn it over to Reagan and Sally, and Rachel, they can share their screen, right? There we go.
Thanks, Deb. Yeah, thanks to your team for spending a lot of time, and just to give a thanks for all that time. Yeah, it's been since about February, so you have the comfort of knowing that Deb, Trish, and Sarah have seen every single piece that is going out for bid, every color, every option available. So everything in this package has been vetted in detail. So we'll just walk through in general the plan. The saying, it could take till Christmas if we went in a lot of detail, is probably true here. So we'll just keep a bird's eye view, and I'll pause a little bit after each area if you have a specific question. But we probably won't get into color or anything. We do have most of it selected, but some of that's dependent on who gets the bid. So we picked as much as we could in advance to get a price that's firm. And then there'll be some follow-up after the bidders are on board. So we'll start here in the library. If you can follow the hand here on the screen, walking in through the front doors, just that main gallery there. There's just a few benches and chairs here in the main lobby. And you can see them over to the side. There's maybe pan out, maybe zoom out so we don't have to. Yeah. So there's the bench there. And we are reusing some existing display tables. And then there's just some tables and chairs for casual seating in that main gallery space or the main lobby space. So moving from the lobby then into the children's space, the main entry to children's, there's a few study rooms there that have tables and side chairs. And then you walk forward to the reception desk. And then to the left is a standard library shelving, steel shelving. There's some thematic elements. I don't know, Deb, how much the board has been involved with the theme of the space, which is Tiny Town. So as you walk past the shelving here, there's a kind of a backyard. It's a front yard in this case. There's a large house facade. So that's all in the construction. So furnishing wise, there's a little campfire there with some outdoor type seating. You can see there to the left. We have some Adirondack chairs and log chairs that are in the front yard type space. Then there's a front porch that leads to the program room. It has a couple swings. There's an image there of what that would be. And then as you move into the program room, which is meant to look kind of like grandma's living room, there's a fireplace that's in the construction portion. But then there's just some miscellaneous tables and chairs for crafts and things. And those are movable and flexible, stackable, everything you could need to be flexible. Then moving back out through the children's department, lots of shelving for the older kids. Then moving to the right a little bit, there's a cluster that's actually the tiny town where there's some storefront facades, kind of a play space, interactive learning. There's some park benches along there as a part of the furniture package. And then moving a little bit to the right, then the next area is the computer park. There's some murals that look like foliage and ivy, and then there's a picnic table looking table there with shelving, kind of playing off of that theme. Moving then to getting into the tween area, there's some seating that look like kind of leaf ottomans there, casual seating, more picnic table type chairs in the STEM area, shelving, and then display tables for new books. Beyond that is the teen part, which is really outdoor rooftop, a little bit more getting into the town parts. That's kind of a rooftop environment. It's mostly seating. There could be gaming and studying and other makers type activities for the teens, as well as computers. So the furniture out there has an outdoor kind of a look, but these are all contract grade, heavy duty, or restaurant grade type materials. There are a couple pillows, some things thrown in there, some odds and ends, but everything is contract grade, durable stuff. So that's pretty much the the whole youth services department, if anyone had any questions there specifically. If not, we will move then to the fiction area, adult fiction. So that's mostly shelving, steel shelving. We are reusing along the curved wall. Those are existing lounge seating that we tried to use as much as we could of what was in good shape from the library. So you see quite a bit of that. And we've placed each piece based on color to fit with the new. The tables and chairs are fairly simple in the adult collections. They're very simple lines. It's more of a modern building. So just a panel table and chairs to go with that. The lounge chair there is pretty typical throughout the building. We didn't change it at each area. We kept some continuity of style so that things can move around if they need to. So that's pretty much the first floor. So we'll go to the second floor. Again, at the lobby, the elevator lobby, there'll be a cluster of seating similar to how it was before in the library. Similar chairs, colors change a little bit on each floor. The floor desk is right next to that. There's a service desk there. Then you move through the lobby to periodicals. There's more shelving there. And then into the commons, which is kind of taking place of what was the first floor lounge. So casual seating around the fireplace, different types of seating, then moving back with some kind of booth screens, but they're low to keep it somewhat visible, good sight lines for staff walking through to keep an eye on things while people still feel like they have space. The north end of this floor, there are a lot of study rooms. Again, flexible tables and chairs, reusing some things again from the old Studio 304 in some of these places, and matching. A lot of that furniture was still available to some degree. So we're keeping that consistent through there. And then non-print, again, the same table like the upper right corner, the photo, just a simple panel table in that area, and then shelving. Non-print is an area where we're reusing a lot of shelving. That's what the lighter color is. And then moving to the south end of this floor, we have the gallery space with just more benches similar to the first floor. Over there to the right is some back issue periodicals. Again, we're reusing some shelving for that. The classrooms below that, it's a high school equivalent room. We're reusing some furniture there as well that used to be in the basement. You can see some photos of the pieces from before. We're reusing all the old computer chairs that were in good shape. That blended fine. And then the reading room, we decided to go a little bit more traditional because there was a lot of requests from the public to have a quiet space in the library for reading, and that's what this room is. So you'll see a little more wood in here, tables and chairs, and then there are some other reused lounge seating again in this spot. And some table lamps. Third floor then, again, you come out onto the lobby to some casual seating, move into the computer lab, where we're doing new tables in this triangular shape with reusing the existing chairs from before, and then some work tables for kind of the copy area, copy scanning area that's in that space. Then moving north is local history. The old circ desk, or the original desk from the Castle Library, is the half curved shape, half circle shape. The tables adjacent, we're going to try and pick up some detailing on that desk into the end panel shown here to tie that together. And then there is a service desk beyond that's a little more modernized with technology. Across from that, there's some computers that have some carols you can see in the upper right, similar to that. And then moving back, we'll do all new shelving, but we are reusing the existing end panels in this space, as well as there weren't a lot, there's just 2 sections of original shelving from the Castle Library again that we're showing there. And you'll see those as you come into local history, kind of right on the end as you walk through the space. As you move back, the tables get simplified a little bit more in style, and they're not custom tied to the desk. We kept that just as a focal point in the front. There's a workroom with just some simple workstations and a lot of heavy duty metal storage shelving for boxes and archives. And then outside of local history is the nonfiction all to the south, which is just high density shelving, and then some, again, tables and lounge seating sprinkled throughout. So that is the library portion. So then the annex, again, coming in through the new entry off of Michigan, these cafe type tables and chairs in the lobby. The cafe itself doesn't have a lot of seating. It's relatively small, so there'll be a few tables and chairs and kind of a bar height and like a napkin dispenser type station, but then most of the seating will be in the lobby. You saw the bench there. There's a few lobby benches outside the elevator lobby. Moving into the tech center, kind of a reclaimed table in the center, kind of a focal point, kind of that modern industrial look in there. The floor is just sealed concrete, and then simple tables around that in a contrasting finish, we're thinking. We are reusing some of the workstations in this space. In the back part where the sound booths are, just some simple tables, and again, reusing some of the library's computer chairs, and then some new lounge seating outside of that for people waiting for the sound booths. Then as you move into the multi-purpose room, which would be the same for the classrooms upstairs, just a lot of tables and chairs, and we figured out about every configuration that would be needed if they were all used at the same time for the same function and so forth, so that there's optimal flexibility. The tables are all on casters, they fold up, and chairs all stack. We've sent probably 20 chair samples to the library, so they've tested out personally almost every piece, every chair that we're looking at using here. So the auditorium itself, those chairs were in the construction package, so that's not part of this bid. There's a few lecterns you see there that we have 2 of each of those that float around to the different rooms as needed. The upper floors then, very similar to the multi-purpose rooms, tables and chairs that can be reconfigured. The event space, due to the shape, are more of a custom shaped, but it's still a flexible flip top castered table and stacked chairs that could move out for a more open event if needed. And we've provided power in several of the tables and chairs for flexibility where possible. And just at the bottom there, there's a little office suite where we might just have just a few desks, some of that future, some of it from day one, and some reused pieces in that lounge area. And then third floor would be, we weren't providing furniture for that. That would be, the tenant would provide that furniture. So we've not included that in this package. So that's pretty much it.
Hey,
It sounded so easy, Sally, when you just walked in. It just really did. I did want to mention that even though Sally mentioned we're reusing as much as we can, we're reusing pieces that are we believe to be in really good shape, that aren't that old. But what's really new is pretty much all the shelving. We had a lot of 90-inch shelving in the former main library, and it made it look like a canyon. And so what we've done is to bring the shelving down. So you're not going to see a lot of the really tall shelving. And that will be a major part of this, this bid.
so are there any, if it's appropriate, does anybody have any questions or comments regarding, I see a hand up, it looks like, or does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the furnishings? Maybe not, maybe I didn't see a hand.
We're separating this into 3 packages. There'll be a general furniture package, which would include off-the-shelf kind of items like tables and chairs, things, mostly tables and chairs. Then there'll be at least 4 vendors that we know are interested in bidding that. The shelving will be in its own separate package so that can be more competitive. We've got a lot of interest there as well. And then there'll be a custom package for the tables that we talked about in local history and a few countertops and odds and ends like that, that would be custom made. They could be made locally. And we've got interest in that as well. So we'll contact who we know, and I know you have advertisements as well to make sure we have lots of interest.
So that's great to hear that we have lots of interest. If there's no comments or questions, is there a motion to approve the invitation to bid set forth in our packet?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, motion made by Terry and seconded by Ann. There's no other discussion. I'll call the roll. Michelle,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The next order of business is a contract to award a contract to Spray Installations Incorporated for fireproofing $12,000 agreement contract. And actually, Ann, or let's see, Deb, do you want to, or who wants to explain?
Sure. I just want to say thanks to, again, to Sally and Reagan. It's great to get it to this point. This is a very small contract for spray insulation, a spray or spray fireproofing, I forget now which it is, that Bully and Andrews just solicited quotes on. And I wanted to make sure it was in the official minutes of the board, so we're bringing it to you. It's $12,000. And I don't know, Glenn or Antonia, whether you want to say anything else about this or not, but.
Yeah, it's, I can give just a heads up. It was insulation that's being used in the link that ties the annex and the library together for some of the steel. What came about is we were investigating VE options on the roofing, which we were able to generate a substantial amount, getting rid of some of the standing seam. But this is kind of the other side of it. There was a cost that had to be applied through this in order to achieve that. So there's a net savings, but this is the spray fireproofing related to that.
Great. Are there any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve this agreement for insulation for fireproofing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I will call the roll. Michelle,
Aye.
Terry? Terry, thumbs up.
He's still muted and talking.
Sometimes the mute doesn't come off right away.
Just give me a thumb. He's not hearing me, I guess.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, Augie,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Next order of business is a proposed amendment to the resolution we adopted earlier, authorizing an increase in the construction budget by $1,250,000. And I think we're not increasing it further, but instead what we're doing here is we want to keep the funds in the operating account instead of putting it in the construction. And I don't know who wants to, Deb, if you want to just explain a little bit.
Yes,
more.
you're correct. Rather than, you've already done this, you approved this resolution back in August, but you approved it as if we were going to transfer it into the construction fund. This, by keeping it in the operating fund, we still allocate the money, but we don't have to go through the process of an additional appropriation, actually a couple of additional appropriations to get it done. And it keeps it more under our control since it's in our operating fund. So it's an amended resolution to what you passed in August.
All right. Well, we thank you all for recognizing that, and it's better for us. It makes sense, probably. So are there any questions anybody's got? And if not, is there a motion to approve this amended resolution?
So moved.
I heard a motion. Well, I heard Marvin and Christine. It sounds like Christine made the motion and Marvin. No, you think it was Ann? Ann.
I'll second Ann's motion.
Christine is keeping me honest here. Okay, Ann moved and Marvin seconded it. If there's no further discussion, Michelle?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The next order of business is a proposal to adjust. Actually, this is really a ratification. I think the staff, I think we all probably saw this in the materials that were delivered to us over the last week or two, but there's been a temporary adjustment in service hours for our 10 branches. And they're asking us to ratify this action. So I don't know, Deb, if you want to, or Trish, if you want to explain this, what we've done, and we can ratify it.
Trish, do you want to jump in here? I know you're.
Sure. I think Deb got you're okay to do this, and we did start the change for the hours on December 14th, last Monday, just to reduce the risk of during this holiday surge that we're experiencing with COVID. The hours are scaled back to being open 2 to 6 at all the branches except Francis and Center, who are open their regular hours. There is still curbside delivery at every location all day, all the operating hours that each branch has. So you can do the book pickup or your tech needs by curbside if it's in the hours before we're actually open.
Okay, so Francis and Center stay the same, and the other 8 branches, we've got the curbside in the mornings and the 2 to 6.
Correct.
We see Francis and Center as sort of standing in for main library right now. They have the additional footprint, the staff, and they can do it safely.
Okay, very good. And that's really for a month here. Is there a motion to, are there any questions, first of all? And if not, is there a motion to approve this ratify this?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion made and seconded. I'll call the roll. Michelle?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And I just want to mention, Jim Masters, you can hear me. I did send you some revised language, just to let you know it's on your computer. Okay. Now let's move to the next order of business. The next item of business is a proposal that we extend our COVID sick leave and FMLA extension for staff with slight modifications. This is the COVID-related sick leave and FMLA. So Kara or Deb or
Kara's
whoever-
going to take this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so earlier in the year, you all approved our modified, we call it FCRA, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, policy, in which we were a little bit more generous than what the law mandated. At this point, the law is set to expire on December 31st. And what it did was require employers of our size to pay employees 100% for 2 weeks if they fell under a few categories, mostly just if they've been exposed to COVID or exhibiting symptoms or were having their child care was closed. So the law mandated 100% for the first 2 weeks and then 66% for the following 12 weeks for the COVID FMLA. We were giving 75% as a more generous policy. What we'd like to do, since the law has not been extended, but we've found that staff are much more likely to stay home, and it's in the interest of everyone if they do stay home, if they're getting paid. So we would like to extend it, but we would like to scale back the weeks, the 12-week period to the 66%. And of course, if the law does end up being extended, or if they create a law that would cover this, it would supersede our policy and we would relook at it.
All right. Got it. Okay, so that, again, this is what would go in, this would, is it currently set to expire December 31st? This would take this till March 30th, and then they'd go month to month after that.
Correct. We'd look at it quarterly. And we're set to look at it at the end of the first quarter.
Okay, perfect. All right, are there any questions, first of all? If not, is there a motion to approve this this extension?
Second.
Okay, motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I will call the roll. Michelle.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Augie.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Christine.
Aye.
And I vote aye. It's interesting how people keep moving around on my screen here, especially Augie keeps moving around. Augie, you keep moving around, or your square does. All right.
Just trying to get my exercise.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. It's kind of the sky, I guess, is moving. Okay, so our next order of business is the consideration and approval of the 2021 salary roster for our employees. And I think, Nancy, are you going to do this?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd be happy to. My cover memo states, the first page has the salary ranges for 2021, which you approved at the November board meeting. And then following that is a listing of each individual staff member and their 2020 hourly rate or salary and their 2021 rate. We have calculated a 2% increase for all employees. And this did cause some employees, because we have not adjusted the salary ranges for 3, possibly 4 years. More staff are beginning to reach the top of their range. For those staff who are at the top of their range, and you can see in the documents where it will say over, I believe there's someone on a couple of people on the second page that have reached the top of the range. Once they reach the top of the range, that 2% will be increase will be given to them as a one-time bonus. And this will be on the January 22nd pay date, which is the first payday that these ranges will be effective. And the overall annual cost, which never happens, should our staff stay exactly as it is, the estimated cost would be $4,877,386 for all of 2021. But as I said, that doesn't ever happen, so I'm sure that will change, but we are in good shape with our finances and feel that we can afford this increase for the staff.
So the total, if everybody stayed, if the total projected increase will be $90,101.
Correct.
21 of everybody, if everybody stays. Right.
Just as an informal survey of the larger public libraries in Indiana, 2% is where most of them are landing to, if that makes any difference. But
okay. So are there any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the salary roster for 2021?
So moved.
Second.
The motion made and seconded. I will call the roll. Michelle?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The salaries are approved. Next order of business is a consideration of a proposed lease agreement between the library and the community foundation. And let's see. Do you want to, Deb, do you want to explain, or do you want to, or basically you'll see, I think you recall, I think we approved a form of a lease.
Yeah.
1 or 2 meetings ago, and then I think then this was, we approved a form that went over to a council for the community foundation, and they had some proposed changes, and Jim worked through those, and then we saw that was in our board packet we received. So we have a black line, and then I looked at that and I actually had a question to Jim. So Jim, Deb, do you all think do we want to go ahead and, or Jim, what do you recommend? Do you want us to consider this, and maybe with the change I suggested, or what do you think?
Well, I think this is on the agenda because we were overly optimistic that we would have it in final form for approval at this point. As I understand it, the community foundation wants the signed lease because they're getting ready to put some money into the project. But I have not heard back from their legal counsel with the changes that we made, which were their suggested changes. And so I don't think we are ready to approve this tonight.
Okay. All right. And Deb, from our perspective, if we don't consider and approve this until January 25th, I think that's our next meeting, that's not receiving their money till after that. Would that cause a problem for us?
I think we're still okay for another month, at least. Yeah. I think it's a good sign that the foundation is anxious to distribute some of the funds to us, and we were both hopeful, Rose and I, that we could get it done, but it doesn't seem like it, unless you want to approve it conditionally and then finish the negotiations outside the board meeting, because it's very close. I think we've agreed on most of the points.
The section that I'm concerned about is the only problem I had was in the event that the community foundation decides that they want to vacate all or a portion of the leased premises. The question is what happens then, and the way this language reads now sort of suggests that if they want to leave, they can basically find somebody else to assign the property to, and as long as they pay the same rent, then we can't unreasonably withhold our consent to that. My thought is that the community foundation, is getting a good deal here, if you will. I mean, they're giving us $10 million, but having said that, it's basically they're not paying rent to us. But to me, if they decided they wanted to vacate all or a portion of their property, they really shouldn't have the right to assign it. It really ought to come back to the library. I think that's my thought is it's there. But if they don't want to use it, then since they're really not paying us any additional money, at least I think our discussion will be that it comes back to us. And then if we want to release it to somebody else, but that we have control of that space, not the community foundation, that it's really our space. And that's my thought. If they're in agreement with that, then I don't have a problem. Because again, this lease basically, if they want to stay, they can stay for 30 years. In the first 10, the first term, it's, they paid us the 10 million and they just pay CAM and then, expenses. And then after that, it goes to market. So that's my thought. So if you want to approve it with that suggestion I made, so approve the lease that Jim gave us with the understanding that if they want to vacate all or a portion, that it would come back to us. I'm okay with that. But Jim, Deb, are you all okay with that? Does that make sense?
I am. I'm looking at Jim. I'm not sure what do you think, Jim?
Well, I think we need to sort out this issue about the assigning or subletting.
Okay.
So should we just pass over it then?
I would say to pass over it. I think there's a few loose ends that really do need to be tied up.
Okay.
So is there a motion to table then, this proposal? Terry,
I would recommend you table it if you're asking me.
Okay. All right. So then why don't we just, is there any objection? Well, I'll just call the roll. We're supposed to do that for everything here. So there's been a motion made to table this proposal. So I'll just call the roll. Michelle?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Motion. Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's passed over that till next month. Next, we have really just the remaining things here are just moving monies around here for the end of the year, I think. First one here is proposed transfer of 2020 appropriation transfers to balance accounts. Nancy or?
Yes, this is a usual transactions that we do at the December meeting. I review all of our accounts in our operating and our library improvement reserve fund and make movements to balance out the appropriations with the expenditures. So the first page, I always have to think about this. These are accounts that are overspent and need additional funding. So in personal services, our unemployment account was overspent. And then in services and charges, we had a variety of accounts that we spent more than we appropriated with the 2020 budget. The second page of the resolution shows you the funds which have additional funds, additional monies within them, which can be transferred to make up the differences. So again, using personal services, in order to fund the 8,000 in the unemployment line, we would take 8,000 from the employer's FICA line. And the same thing with the services and charges. So it does total up to a total of $98,300 that we would be moving between accounts in order to balance the books.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding this resolution? If not, is there a motion to approve this resolution of appropriation transfers?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. If there's no comments, I'll call the roll. Michelle?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin? I think, Marvin, you voted aye.
Aye, I was muted, sorry.
Christine, no problem.
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's
Wait,
approved.
You skipped Ann.
Oh, Ann, I'm sorry.
I vote aye.
Thank you so much. Next is a resolution to transfer $1 million from the operating fund to the rainy day fund for purposes of future library needs. And I think that's the resolution, but Deb or anybody else want to explain what we're doing? I mean, I think that's what
Would you like me to
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
keep going down?
Keep going. Yeah.
Our budget consultant, Mike Denniston, when we constructed our budget, suggested that instead of appropriating $1 million and transferring it to the Library Improvement Reserve Fund, which would tie up $1 million in our budget, that we wait until the end of the year, and if there were additional available funds, to then resolve to transfer them to the rainy day fund. So this freed up some money in our 2020 budget, but allows us the flexibility to basically make this payment to a savings account.
Oh, are there any questions? If not, is there a motion to transfer the $1 million?
So moved.
Okay, motion made. Sounds like
I
Marvin.
like Christine had that one.
Seconded. Okay, I will call the roll. Michelle,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Next is a resolution to appropriate encumbrances brought forward. This is the contract that have started, but go ahead, Nancy, I'll let you.
Yes, again, it is a typical resolution that we ask every December. We look at any purchase orders or, and I would say contracts, but because the construction funds are outside of our tax funds, we aren't moving those encumbrances forward. Those encumbrances will stay with the fund throughout the project. So we look at the operating fund and any contracts and purchase orders that we might have that we feel we need to move that encumbrance forward because it will not be paid this year, but will need to be paid next year. So we have the first page gives you the full dollar amounts, the consulting services and equipment repairs, $176,802.20 in consulting, equipment repairs, $49,349. And then in capital outlays, improvements other than buildings, $7,075.33. The second page gives you the details of this, what company we have negotiated this purchase order with, and the purchase order numbers and the dollar amounts. And so what we would do is move these amounts forward, and when these vendors present their invoices, they would be paid from the amounts we move forward.
Any questions? Or I'll just point out, Deb mentioned to me earlier that the $49,000 dynamic mechanical, that's to do hand-free devices in the restrooms primarily for COVID type things now. We're going to hands-free, and then adding a lock. You recall a while back there was a discussion regarding people going through the German township or the German library branch, and we're putting a lock gate there, I think primarily for after hours, so people don't do a cut through. So that's something we heard about that, I think at one of our previous meetings, that some neighbors had complained about that. So it looks like there's a fix to that. So
correct. And these are all projects that
ongoing.
We have begun, and we have made some payments on them. So we felt that it would be best to move the rest of the encumbrance into next year's budget.
So then is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. I'll call the roll. Michelle,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
and I vote aye. And the next order of business is the acceptance of the Opie Award, one of 8 public libraries across the United States to receive this award. So
Yes.
who wants to tell us about this?
Well, I just wanted to let you know that Lisa has been writing grants like crazy this year. And so Lisa wrote the documentation that got us the award, but Jenny is really in charge of the Orange Boy effort. And so I kind of wanted her to tell you a little bit about what this is. So Jenny.
Yeah, so the Opie Award actually brought together 2 of my greatest library loves, Orange Boy and Bendable. So Orange Boy is a new system that we started in December. We use it for our emails primarily, but it has a lot of utility for, you actually heard about it last time when Ryan and Dave gave the presentation on CDs and audiobooks. So it has a lot of utility for understanding our patrons and being able to reach out to them more. So when they presented, they did a proposal for this grant opportunity. Lisa and I thought that Bendable was the right way to go because that is, so the award is for inspiring and innovative ways to serve your community. And Bendable is exactly that. So we were one of 8 libraries to receive, and it's nationwide, the grant, to receive $2,250, which we're going to use to continue to promote Bendable out in our community. So I have a few things I wanted to share about Bendable since I have the opportunity, but one of the reasons it's been so successful is we've been able to have a concentrated, consistent effort to get the word out about Bendable. And we've seen really amazing results in terms of both visitors to the site and also use, which is where it gets really exciting. So we've had 11,000 visitors come to Bendable. These are people that live in South Bend. So we've had double that number come to the site in general, which means about 10,000 people across the country have checked out Bendable, but they can't have it yet because it's just ours for now. And we have about 1,000 accounts, almost 1,100 accounts. And what's awesome is we get about 100 new resources started a week. So that means people are starting things like there's a class on creating a culture of inclusion that's really popular right now. Basic graphic design is pretty popular. And we just launched a new community collection on how to market your small business. So we're seeing about 100 people log onto the site, create an account, and then start these learning resources. So thank you to Lisa for helping us get this award because it just makes it a little bit easier to make sure that the community knows that this is a free resource available to them. So there we are, the Opie Award.
Very cool.
Let me add something if I can. I've been one of the promoters, I think, of sorts of Bendable. And I had pressed Jennifer several times about how to get credit. Now, since those conversations, I'm seeing numerous links that answer the question. I don't know if I overlooked those before or they've been added since.
No, it's actually, I think your prompting is what brought those to the fore. And that's one of the amazing things about Bendable is we can constantly iterate to make sure that it's meeting the needs of the community. So that was your input.
I'm very glad for that. I just completed that course on world religions. It's 30 hours. That's intense. And just started one on art history. I'm a real fan. And now they've made it simpler to, I don't know that I'd apply for credit, but I think it's important to some folks maybe earlier in their careers. So good job.
Thank you.
It's an amazing resource. We are so fortunate to have it. So thanks, Jenny.
Cool.
So you just need to accept the money.
Right. So motion to accept the money. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. And Augie's up top now on mine. So I will call the roll. Michelle.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Augie.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Christine.
Aye.
And I vote aye. And the last order of new business is to consider a resolution to declare excess withdrawn library materials. And Christine, I always turn this over to you.
Well, thank you so much. But let me first ask a question. Are we doing this right now? Are we still extracting materials for the Friends?
We are. We're still in the process of weeding.
Okay.
We didn't weed very early in COVID, obviously, because nobody was in the buildings, but we are weeding. The book sale, the Friends book sale is closed until the middle of January. It's just too tight in there to make it safe. But yeah, we're still doing it.
Well, in that case, I will motion that we sell the books that have been removed or weeded from our accounts to the Friends of the Library for $1, excluding items selected by the library staff for library sales and events. And this includes computer equipment declared as excess.
Yeah, it looks like there's 5,646 items actually.
Okay.
They declared excess this time. So motion made. Is there a
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Augie. Any discussion? If not, I'll call the roll. Michelle?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That concludes new business. Is there any other business to come before our board meeting tonight? If not, I didn't hear anybody, but I'll just ask for purposes of the minutes, are there any visitors that would like to address the board? If not, I'll just point out there are some news and education items that are quite a few actually. There's several things that were attached at the back. I don't know, Deb, if you want to highlight any of those.
I just wanted to mention in general that the conference reports you have this time are from the virtual Indiana Library Federation conference in November. Normally, obviously, it was in person. This year it was virtual. And I thought they did a really good job of pivoting from what they would normally do in a conference to focusing on needs that have come up through the past year. So there's a lot about inclusion and equity and COVID related things. And if you get a chance to just kind of take a glance through there's some pretty good things that I think our people picked up. So it's one of the better the most relevant conference agendas I think I've seen in a while. And I don't know that we would have done this if it hadn't been for what's going on in the country right now. So.
Okay. All right. Let me point out that our next board meeting date is Monday, January 25th. It's set to be at Keller Park, but we're thinking it looks to us like well into the first quarter, at least, of 2021, we're going to be doing Zoom, continuing with Zoom. And I'll also point out that we do have an executive session immediately after this meeting. So if the board members will stay on and then the staff will sign off. And I'm being set up, I assume, Rachel, as the host of the.
Yeah, once we adjourn, I'll make you the host and leave, and you'll have all the control.
Okay, great. So then, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Michelle.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Augie.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Anne.
Aye.
Christine.
Aye.
And I vote aye. We are adjourned.
Alan,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something. It is Michelle's last meeting potentially. I
Oh.
think we got to thank her for her service. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, yes. I was thinking, Michelle. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
We think we'll have her for just a little bit
We're
longer.
hoping we'll have we think yes. Yeah, technically it's we have two board members that are whose terms come to an end this month, both Ann Rosen and Michelle Engel. As you all saw my email earlier that unless if the school board sees fit to amend their bylaws and to reappoint Michelle, we'll have her come back on, which would be great. But if not, Michelle, it really has been a pleasure for all of us to, and we're all applauding virtually for you. We would give you an extra cookie if we were at, or the rest of the cookies if we were there. And there really has been, it's really been great having you on the board and working with you. And
Likewise, it's been an honor and a pleasure, and I love the library.
Thank you. Great.
And we're hopeful that the county council will see to our wishes and will reappoint you. And so but we also thoroughly enjoyed having you on the last 4 years as well. And we would be also likewise a hole in our a second hole in our board if we lost you also next. So we hope to have you with us in January.
Thank you.
Well, she will be with us regardless if we don't have the new member.
Right.
But we've been told before that the county, whomever makes the decision, often waits till their January meeting, which will be probably right before our next meeting.
Right. So hopefully.
Yes. So we will have you on for the next meeting, we think.
Hopefully. Thank both of you. Very good. All right. So if nothing else, then thank you, Jim. We are adjourned.
Happy holidays, everybody.